Good morning. I'm Darrell Gunter, your host for Leadership on WSOU 89.5 FM and streaming on the net at WSOU.net. Boy, we're in for a treat today. We have the queen of infomercials on our program today, Miss Collette Liantonio. Collette, welcome to the program.
Thank you for having me, Darrell.
The queen of infomercials. Okay, how did you get this title? Tell us a little bit about yourself.
I'm the last woman standing. I don't know. I started, I think, back in 1979, and I'm still going strong. So I think that I got that title just by sheer staying power.
And tell us a little bit about your background. Where'd you go to school, and how did you segue into infomercials?
Well, certainly nobody goes to school for infomercials, but I did go to school to study English and writing and film study and all the arts and crafts in the media world. I was always fascinated with, from the time I'm a child, I was putting on shows and entertaining. I enjoy the entertainment world. And I segued into it because I was writing brochures and creating various advertising pieces for some clients. And one of my clients actually started an infomercial company way back in the 70s and asked me if I'd come aboard and take a look at what they were doing. And I realized it was the same principles of entertainment, only we were selling products at the same time. So it was more of a challenge and very entertaining. And we got very fast results. And I have a short attention span, so that was terrific.
And back then, what was the average length of an infomercial?
Well, we didn't actually technically start infomercials till the Reagan years when they passed legislation that allowed us to have longer advertisements. So in 1979, it wasn't called an infomercial, but the commercials were 2 minutes and 1 minute in length. And I specialized in that until the early 80s when we were able to do the longer versions.
And you mentioned the Reagan administration. What occurred during that time that had you to segue into this new format of infomercial?
I'm not a very political person, but I can tell you that prior to the early 80s, we did not have lengths of advertising time available to us longer than 2 minutes. So in the early 80s, the laws were passed whereby it was sort of an open forum, and we were able to do half hours and even hour-length infomercials. And now, 2 minutes, 1 minute, 5 minutes, 3 minutes, there's a variety of lengths of commercials that we're able to put on the air. But in the early 80s, it was limited to the station breaks.
Wow. And what has been your most successful pitch that you've done for a product?
I don't know what's most successful. I mean, we've become, there's certain legends out there like the George Foreman grill. Everyone owns one of those, and we did the commercial for that. The Bedazzler is a product that every little girl in America wanted. That was a crazy, legendary hit. And then over the years, we've done a lot of interesting commercials. Recently, we had the pajama jeans, which is a phenomenon.
Yes.
It's amazing how that's caught on.
You know, it's interesting. My wife and I, we were discussing, I wonder if anybody actually bought those. But you're saying that it was very successful.
It's very successful. We've done that in 2 minutes. We've done that in 1 minute. We've done that in a half hour. We've done that in 15 minutes. So it's very successful.
And let's talk about the George Foreman grill. How did that all come about, and how did George Foreman get involved with the grill? Because at one point his boxing career was over, but all of a sudden here's George Foreman with the grill, and he's back fighting again.
The George Foreman grill is one of the most successful shows we've had, but strangely, many of the young people don't even know that George Foreman was a fighter, which I find remarkable. I have a 25-year-old daughter that actually said to me, "What was he known for? He's such a great guy."
That is hilarious.
Yeah, it is hilarious when you think about it. Many of the celebrities that we work with had former lives before infomercials, and I'm afraid a lot of people don't know who they are. But we've been fortunate in that we've been able to work with many terrific celebrities, from Wayne Gretzky and Arnold Palmer, Joe Namath, a lot of sports celebrities.
And how do you go about selecting the celebrity with the product?
Well, usually the clients, the marketers, actually come to me with them. I don't, if necessary, and they want to have a celebrity connected with a product, I will negotiate. I'll go to an agency or one of the representatives and negotiate with them on behalf of our clients. But it's not always great to have a celebrity unless there's a real connection, a true connection. It's really not worth the money.
Right.
In other words, if the celebrity is merely taking money to be in a commercial, it's and there's no integrity involved. If they don't believe in the product, then it really doesn't do anyone a service. So, I really think it's very, very important that the celebrity is doing it not just for the money, but because of the belief in the product.
And so, if I remember correctly, you did your undergraduate degree at Fordham, correct?
Yes, I did.
And what was your major there?
I was an English major with a minor in a very new field called communication arts.
Wow.
Way back in the day. That was a brand new major.
So for our graduates here at Seton Hall who were communications majors and they want to get into the business of infomercials, what advice would you provide them?
I would suggest, just based on when I hire people, that they get as many internships as possible. The most important thing a student can do as an undergrad is to get many, many internships and prove that they are going to be viable in the working world. I know that everyone needs to make money, but if they're looking in the long-term picture, they should really look at getting internships in a variety of places. Many, many students want to go to the big names in New York City. That very often is not the smartest move because they're not going to get the kind of experience they really need that they will get if they go to a smaller company or an infomercial company where it's really important that our students learn every aspect of the business. So I have an internship program at my company, and I work with many different universities, and I make sure that my students do a lot more than get coffee. They do everything from learn the art of writing an infomercial, how we cast. They attend our shoots. They do prop shopping. They do everything, soup to nuts, and that's how you learn the business.
Would you? Could I forward our career center to you so that if there are some internships that maybe some Seton Hall graduates could be considered?
We would love that,
oh,
and undergraduates. What I really want, and because you guys are local, during the school year, that's the time I really need interns. In the summertime, I'm inundated. We've already filled our internships for this summer, but come the fall, we are always looking.
Well, Jackie Chafin will be in touch with you.
And that we have a very nice internship program, and Miss Sharon Walden runs it for us, and it's worth credits. And we really, everyone comes away with a really good experience, and usually we throw them in front of the camera as well.
That is
most
excellent.
Of the students enjoy that.
So they get some real experience.
Absolutely.
What are some of the key attributes that you look for in talent when you want to bring someone in to be part of your team?
Because I'm a very small company, there's only 12 of us. I require generalists. I don't have the luxury that they do in very large companies or large agencies to hire someone who is solely a writer, for instance, or solely a lighting director, or somebody who says, I'm a great director. Well, that's great if I were shooting every single day, but I'm not. So I really look for people that are intelligent and eager to learn and eager to work. They're not afraid to roll up their sleeves on a shoot. If I'm shooting a Ginsu knife, they have to be willing to grab a sponge and clean the counter. I do it, and I expect it of all my employees. And anybody that really wants to be successful in this highly competitive field has to be willing to jump in and do it all. And that's what I look for. I can train, but I can't train someone who's lazy.
Right.
I can train anybody that's eager to learn the business. The major is important, but not all-consuming. I'm more interested in the individual and the traits that I see in the individual. And the other really important quality is they have to fit our company culture. In other words, they've got to get along with the team because we work as a team.
And let's talk about your culture. What type of culture do you have at your place of business? How would you describe it?
We actually socialize with each other outside of work. Once a year, I take the whole team on a trip. This past year, we went to Cancun, the Riviera Maya, where we celebrated after one of our terrific infomercials. It was a long time coming. We worked on Hip Hop Abs and, with Sean T., and it was a 6-month project. So to celebrate the end of that, the successful end of our project, we all went away together, and we celebrated our success. The beauty of our company and a small company is that we see our projects from concept through completion. That's very gratifying. In a big company, you may be one aspect of the big picture. In our company, you sit in on the first meeting with the client, you brainstorm with our team, we think up names, we think up creative ideas, we reject creative ideas, but it's a creative process that we share in together. And the payoff at the end, which is so gratifying, is to see a completed project. You see a job all the way through to the end, and it's on the air. And what's really exciting is when it repeats on the air and you know that the public is buying your product. Sometimes it's on the air for a week and it disappears because it didn't perform, and that's devastating. But we do see it through to completion and we give it our all, and that's our culture. We are a team, and I never allow people to point fingers, and I never allow any of our clients to attack any of our players.
You know, it seems like you have a very holistic culture that is truly one of collaboration. And I also get the impression from your earlier response to regards to what type of team do you look for, is that someone who joins your company, they really learn every bit of the business.
As a former educator, I was a speech and dramatic arts teacher at Rutherford High School in 1971 for 3 years. Then I stayed home to have my family. But I feel as though I am always teaching. I love to mentor my staff, and I love to impart to them what I've learned over the years, both infomercial information and commercial production, but also information about business in general. I'm constantly clipping articles from the New York Times business section, from anything, from the Wall Street Journal, anywhere I can garner any information or input on bettering yourself. Because many, many people use the expression, oh, it's business, and they use that as an excuse to rape and pillage and steal. And I feel that it's business should not be any excuse for poor, immoral behavior.
Right.
Best business practices, that's what we're supposed to engender. And I feel as a senior member of the business community, that's what I can impart to my staff.
Wow, that is excellent, because it is about trust in business, and when people break that trust, they try to say, "Oh, well, it's not personal, it's business," which is
right.
I have to really agree with you on that, and so your leadership style is lead by example. That is what's coming through.
Absolutely, I would not ask anyone on my staff to do anything that I would not do myself. Years ago, I've learned from a lot of bad bosses. And years ago, I had a boss that called me in, and I had my master's degree, and he said to me, "Would you go get me coffee?" And I said, "Sure, how do you take it?" And told him, went and got him coffee and me. And I came in and sat down, and he used me as an example to tell his secretary that look, she got me coffee, why won't you get me coffee? And I blew up to think that he would demean his secretary and use me as an example. I said, the difference is you called me in to discuss with you a project, or at least that's what I assumed. You didn't order me out to get you coffee. And getting coffee has always been, now I would never ask one of my staff to go get me coffee, or unless I were asking them to come in and sit and have the cup with me.
Right. Or sometimes I would say to my team, "Hey, I'm going to get some coffee. What can I get you? What would you like?" So
exactly.
that they see that it's reciprocal. It goes both ways.
Exactly.
Yeah, I remember one particular executive at a company that I used to work for. He was new to the company, and he was trying out different assistants in the building, and one assistant he was trying out, he called her into his office, and he said, "Could you please get that piece of trash out the trash can for me?" And she said, "Pardon me?" And he repeated what he said, and she says, "No, I do not go into your trash can to pull out something that you threw in." And at the end of their little trial period, he says, "Well, I don't think it's going to work out because, I really need for you to be subservient to me."
Yeah, well, that's what he was looking for, and
exactly.
that nobody learns from that. And that hierarchy is not to say that there isn't a hierarchy in business, and yes, there should be, but maybe based more on merit and knowledge.
Exactly.
Than any empty title.
Right, and not ego and really stupidity.
Exactly, yes.
And what has been your most challenging experience as a leader within your company, and how did you overcome it?
I don't know that I have overcome all my most challenging experiences. Whenever someone fails, I consider it also a failure on my part. Whether I didn't vet the person properly during the interview process or didn't train them properly along the way, it's always a loss. With a small company, you feel a lot like you're a family. And when I ask everyone to try to bring people along to reach their highest potential, and when someone fails, it's devastating.
That is very interesting that you say that if someone fails, really it has an effect on the overall organization. How many people do you have on your team, in your company?
We only have 12. We use many freelancers on our jobs. Of course, we hire actors, we hire camera people and the crew. I have in-house 3 full-time editors on Final Cut Pro. And the rest of the staff, with the exception of our one finance HR person, are all creatives, from the pre-production process through the production process and sales.
As a leader, when you have to say goodbye to someone, what have you found? And this is really good for our entrepreneurs that in the South Orange area to understand. When you have an employee who's just not working out, what is the proper way to say goodbye?
Well, I think a warning is appropriate, but when you do finally have to say goodbye, it's better to do it swiftly. You can have an exit interview, which I think is always useful to hear input on the company when someone has, quote, nothing left to lose. But I think it's important that they leave quickly. You shouldn't prolong the agony on either side. People feel awkward, uncomfortable. So it's best when the handwriting is on the wall to bring it to a swift conclusion. And most people are greatly relieved when it finally comes because they've been expecting it. Whether it's rare that an employee doesn't know it's coming.
In your opinion, what is the leading factor as to why a particular employee just doesn't work out? Is it a skill set fit that's not right, or they don't fit the culture, or
And culture is the number one. And not fitting the culture is the number one. Skill set you can acquire, assuming that you've hired someone intelligent enough with a desire. If you have a desire and you're intelligent enough, you can acquire the skill set because each company is unique in a certain way, and you can learn the methodology and you can bring new to the table as well. But if you don't gel with the people, if you can't wait for 5 o'clock to roll around so you can get out of town, then it's never going to work.
Right. And how soon after they have hired do you know in your gut, oh, it's going to work out or it's not going to work out?
Well, sometimes we do a trial period of 3 months prior to a full-time hire. But that's a honeymoon period, and everybody's on their best behavior. So you really don't know. We've had more people actually quit us than we fire. And that's very often because the pressure, the fast pace, the multiple tasks, and the deadlines can be very intimidating.
Right.
And some people are just not flexible. Really need to be able to shift gears quickly. So if you're in the middle of a project and you're working nicely pell-mell and you're reaching your deadline, and then all of a sudden your crazy boss comes in and says, oh, no, we just got that job that we were pitching, only they need it in 2 weeks. Now everybody has to shift gears. And if you're not flexible, if your nice little schedule didn't work out and you're very unhappy about that, this is not the business for you. It is advertising. It is unforgiving as far as schedules and deadlines.
Is it possible that you can share with us one of your most challenging shoots that you had to do and how you managed through the process?
Certainly. One of my most challenging and most entertaining shoots that has actually made the list of the top 10 funniest commercials of all time was a product called the Potty Putter.
The Potty Putter.
The Potty Putter. And it's really infamous at this point. It has traveled around the world. My oldest son starred in it. He is 38 years old. He now lives in Switzerland, and his buddies in Switzerland are familiar with it. People around the world know the Potty Putter.
Wow.
It was challenging. It is a Spencer gift type of product. It's a little golf kit that allows you to practice your short game in the bathroom.
Oh, wow.
While seated on the toilet. Now, of course, the challenge is I can't reveal people on the toilet, not on polite television anyway. So we found that a very challenging project.
One day you're going to have to show me that video, the Potty Putter.
You can find it on YouTube.
Oh, it's on YouTube?
And,
okay.
It's one of my favorite scripts. It's loaded with double entendres.
For the guests who've just joined us, we're well into our program, but we are here with Miss Collette Liantonio, who is the queen of infomercials. She has brought such products to the marketplace, such as the George Foreman Grill, the Topsy Tail, and the Dominizer, which I've always felt was so good to watch. Now, do you use all of these products after you
Absolutely.
pitch them?
I use absolutely every product. Sometimes that's a challenge, given the fact that I did the Topsy Tail, which was a famous commercial in the 90s, and it was a product that enabled you to turn a ponytail inside out and style your hair. I have
remember
short
that.
hair.
Yes.
Yeah,
I remember that.
it looked like a little bit of a knitting needle or something. But at any rate, I have very short hair. However, my daughters accommodated me, and I was able to play with their hair. I need to use every single product, much to the chagrin of my husband on occasion. But we do use every single product before I can sell it.
Now, did your husband use the potty putter?
Did my husband use the potty putter? No, but it was my son's favorite product.
Oh, great. And we're winding down. Believe it or not, we just have a couple minutes left. But what advice would you give to new entrepreneurs, particularly women entrepreneurs, in regards to getting in your line of business?
I would suggest that they do as much homework as possible and interview as many people in the industry as possible. I would attend the Inventors Symposiums that take place every year in Pittsburgh, the Impact Show. I would attend some of the direct response conventions where you find all the suppliers under one roof so you can interview people and see who you have an affinity with. It's important that your media buyer, your creative producer, your fulfillment warehouse, and your credit cards are all in line before you venture. Most importantly, get your patents in order, get your URL in order, because now 60 to 70% of all sales will be made on the Internet. So make sure that whatever your clever name is that you come up with, that you can own it on the web. And find the partners that will work with you properly. It's an expensive proposition, although the least expensive way to introduce a new product to the marketplace, it's still an expensive proposition. You could expect by the time you're finished with the commercial production and all the testing apparatus necessary to spend $80,000 to $100,000. I suggest you don't mortgage your house or use all your savings. I suggest you find a business partner and take a percentage of the profits and learn the business before you jump in with both feet.
Well, this is very, very good information for our listeners. And Collette, I want to thank you for coming on the program. I learned so much about your products, and the advice that you've given our listeners, believe me, will go a long way in helping them to realize their dreams. Thank you for coming on the program.
Thank you so much for having me as your guest. I appreciate it. Good luck to all your students.
Thank you so much. And we'll be sure to contact you about those internships.
Okay. Got a deal.
All right. Ladies and gentlemen, that's it for this weekend. We want to thank you for joining me, Darrell Gunter, your host for Leadership on WSOU 89.5 FM and streaming on the net at WSOU.net. And remember, you can pick us up on iTunes. Just look for Leadership under the Seton Hall University banner. This is Darrell Gunter, your host for Leadership. And remember, leadership begins with you. Have a great weekend.